I think it's really important, the emphasis that you put on empathy. I think that sometimes when we talk about clients and understanding clients, we start with techniques, or we start with studies and surveys and talking to clients. But I think if it's not based on a desire or an ability to be empathetic, then I think you just miss really important things. Because if you don't care about what matters most, I think it's really hard to figure out how to be most helpful. So I really appreciated the emphasis on empathy, and I wish I saw more of it in terms of what gets talked about when we talk about clients at the center. Jabril, what kinds of ideas come to you out of this conversation that Daryl's had with us?
Merci Bob. Ce qui m'a le plus inspiré, c'est la dimension humaine. Je suis agréablement surpris par rapport à la session de ce matin, parce que si vous regardez le mardi, nous avions commencé avec Léora à parler du Findex. On a essayé de voir des indicateurs au niveau des clients, indicateurs que nos décideurs politiques et les institutions pouvaient utiliser dans le cadre de l'inclusion financière. Le mercredi, on est revenu au niveau des institutions prestataires de services financiers. On a essayé de mieux comprendre les risques que ces prestataires de services financiers devaient mettre en exergue pour mieux comprendre leur activité, mais aussi pour être dans une logique de pérennité financière et mieux servir la clientèle. Aujourd'hui, on va au-delà des chiffres. On va au-delà des éléments de risque, mais on apporte la dimension humaine du travail qu'on est en train de faire. Mieux comprendre les clients, mettre les clients au cœur de nos préoccupations. Et ce qui est intéressant dans tout ça, c'est qu'en plus d'avoir cette réflexion, le caractère business de l'activité, on n'oublie pas la dimension humaine, c'est-à-dire on travaille avec le cœur. Parce qu'à la fin de la journée, il s'agit de ça aussi, maintenir la dimension humaine de la microfinance. Lorsqu'on se rend compte qu'une bonne partie de notre clientèle au niveau de ce secteur de la microfinance, ce sont des personnes qui vivent avec moins de $2 par jour. Donc, les prendre en considération, je pense que c'est un élément assez fondamental. Et l'autre point que je voulais mettre en exergue, et Daryl, vous l'avez mentionné tantôt, c'est que avant, qu'est-ce qui se passait? Les gens viennent au niveau de nos clients avec une rencontre et ils essaient de définir un produit et un service pour ces clients. Maintenant, de plus en plus, l'approche a changé. C'est de venir au niveau des clients, vivre avec les clients, connaître leur réalité pendant une journée, revenir encore pour voir exactement comment ça s'est passé. Je pense que cet aspect assez humain, cette dimension humaine de la microfinance que nous avons maintenant, nous permet de nous dire que ceux qui pensent qu'il y a cette dérive de mission, il suffit seulement de participer à cette session pour voir que les clients sont au cœur de nos préoccupations, au cœur de nos préoccupations pour nous permettre de développer des produits et des services qui nous amènent à être pérennes et à les servir le plus longtemps possible.
Yeah, this is interesting. You talk about living with clients. I had a conversation with the person in charge of human resources for Unilever. You've heard of Unilever makes soaps and detergents and many household products that are sold in some of the very poorest neighborhoods around the world. So as part of their executive training program for people who are going to be up-and-coming leaders, they need to go out and actually live in villages with poor families for weeks at a time as part of their training process. And that builds empathy. It builds a connection to the way those products, in this case, are used in the household, you know, how they're stored, what they're used for, what quantities are used, but also empathy for the challenges that family faces and how those products connect. I thought that was an interesting observation. I don't know, Daryl, have you seen these sorts of, how do we start to act on empathy, understand how empathy relates to day-to-day work folks might do?
Well, I think, you know, there's always a temptation to engage in some of these executive programs and stop there. And I think, you know, Unilever might be able to afford to take senior executives and put them into the field for quite a long time. And that's very, very useful. That's at the heart of what we now call human-centered design. And where we might, where something like that would be very useful for us is to really understand, with the advent of digital finance, what type of relationship do people have with their phones? When I talk to women in particular, but just about anybody in a focus group, it's like the phone, it's like we're going to go through some sort of morph, we're going to morph into having a phone in our hand, because the phone is always right there. You know, it's always right there. It's somehow part of an extension of the body. And if you observe how people use their phone, where they leave it, who they let borrow it or not, do they ever leave it? Are the children allowed to touch the phone or not? Do they just try to dial with one hand? Are they illiterate, but they still have muscle memory to go through menus? That is the type of deep design that you often need if you're going to really develop a product. But then there's the other side, which is in institutions where you are very, very process-oriented, where everyone has a list of processes that they need to follow, and your agents and your loan officers are incentivized to sell certain products, and they get points for selling certain products, and everything's very structured. That type of hardwired structure does not allow for a lot of insights to trickle from the bottom up. And as I've become a business owner, and a business owner with global offices, where you have people who have very different education basis, and they've worked within institutions that might have required different things of them in the culture, one of the things that I found very, very difficult is to get somebody on the most, sort of the, you know, the lowest, the bottom of the ladder, to actually raise their hand and say, I have an idea, or I have a problem, or I want to tell you this is a really stupid product. People hate this. How do you create an institution where you enable a flatter structure and where people feel empowered to raise their hands? Your people who are face-to-face with clients are often economically or income-wise not too terribly far away from them. And how do you empower them to actually speak their mind or provide their insights? How do you actually allow them, not just allow them, but encourage them, because sometimes people don't know how to find the words, or they don't know what you're looking for. How do you allow that to infiltrate through the company? How can you encourage that?